Use this psychological trick and watch how they beg for your attention. People don't fear what they understand. They fear what they can't predict. And nothing is more unpredictable than detachment. Most people chase connection, fast, desperate, open. They give too much, too soon to prove their worth. And in doing that, they lose all leverage. But there's one move that flips everything. You walk away, first. Not in anger, not in drama, but in cold, silent clarity. No warning, no closure, no guilt, just distance and mystery. It creates what psychologists call loss anticipation. People feel the absence before they understand it. They replay every word, every moment, every gap, and the silence starts to scream. It says, "You're replaceable." It says, "You didn't matter like you thought." That's when fear kicks in. That's when respect is born. And that's what this video is about. If you've ever pulled away and watched someone panic, drop it in the comments. Your silence might help someone else wake up. People don't value what's always there. They get used to access. They start to expect your attention like oxygen. That's why pulling away hits different. It creates scarcity. Not in words, in presence. And scarcity makes people assign value. It's basic psychology. The less available something is, the more the mind assumes it's important. Think of it this way: the person who replies instantly, easy. The one who vanishes without explanation, unforgettable. Scarcity isn't being cold, it's being calculated. It's removing what they assumed was permanent and watching how fast they chase what they ignored. You don't beg for value. You create it through distance, calm, and silence. You don't overstay. You disappear on your terms. And when people feel that absence, they start fearing it'll be permanent. If you've ever had someone come back stronger after you went quiet, comment below. The tribe learns from your silence too. 1. The sudden pause. Most people give affection like a faucet, constantly on, never questioned, always flowing. But the more consistent you are, the more people take you for granted. And that's where the sudden pause becomes lethal. It's simple. You go silent without warning. You stop replying. You stop initiating. No anger, no explanation, just distance. This creates a psychological interruption. The brain doesn't know how to categorize it. It scrambles for meaning, control, closure. The sudden pause forces them to confront absence. It puts your value under a spotlight. Because you didn't fight, you vanished. And they don't know what they did. That confusion becomes anxiety. That anxiety becomes respect. You didn't need to shout. You didn't need to prove anything. You just let the silence do the talking. Have you ever tested this pause? Drop your story in the comments. Someone might need the proof you lived. 2. Control the return. Silence is powerful. But how you return after silence, that's strategy. Most people break the pause emotionally. They come back explaining, apologizing, overcompensating. And just like that, the power is gone. But when you return calm, focused, neutral, you keep control. You stay above. You re-enter as the version they weren't expecting. You don't explain where you were. You don't validate their discomfort. You don't ask for permission to reappear. You just move like nothing happened. Not cold, not bitter, just clear. And that clarity is confusing to most, because they wanted closure, not calm. They wanted answers, not detachment. And you gave them neither. This is how you flip emotional dependence. You become the one who decides distance. You become the one who owns timing. Returning without emotion creates a new frame. And that's when respect hits differently. Ever return stronger after silence? Drop that lesson in the comments. Your story might wake someone up today. 3. The eye contact cutoff. Most people use eye contact to connect, to seek validation, to keep things comfortable. But eye contact can also be a weapon. Narcissists, manipulators, insecure people, they stare to dominate, to test your response. And most flinch, laugh, or look away too soon. Here's the silent move. Hold eye contact just long enough. Then break it. On your terms, not theirs. But don't break it down. Break it sideways, with purpose. It signals, I've seen enough. You don't shake me. It ends the moment on your command. No words, no shift in energy, just control. This creates subtle tension. It disrupts the rhythm of the interaction, and it forces them to recalibrate. You didn't play submissive. You didn't challenge. You didn't chase. You just owned the space, then left it. Practice this move with awareness. Let us know in the comments what you noticed. Sometimes the smallest shift flips everything. 4. The delay that builds tension. Silence doesn't just create distance, it creates anticipation. And anticipation rewires how people see you. Most people reply too fast. They answer texts before thinking. They react before observing. Fast replies signal availability. Fast reactions signal emotional exposure. And exposure always kills mystery. Here's the move. Delay on purpose. Wait before answering. Pause before replying. Hold your words longer than expected. Let the silence grow. Let them wonder if you're still considering. Let them feel the gap. This creates pressure without aggression. They begin to analyze the space between. Not your words, your delay. It makes every response more valuable. Every moment with you feels earned. Every pause becomes power. Timing isn't passive, it's a weapon. One you control second by second. If you've tested this delay in real life, drop your experience in the comments. Let's see how silence moves in your world. 5. Leave without a sound. Most people announce their exit. They explain, they justify, they create closure, because they still want to be understood. But power doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly, it detaches clean, and it leaves space that echoes. Here's the move. Just leave. When energy shifts, when respect fades, when your presence is no longer valued. No final message, no paragraph, no drama. You just vanish, sharp, calm, unreadable. This shocks the system, because people expect noise, not stillness. They expect guilt, not certainty. Now they're left with silence, with unanswered questions, with emotional recoil. And that silence screams louder than any confrontation. It says, you're no longer worth the explanation. And that line cuts deeper than any insult. Have you ever walked away without a sound? Tell us in the comments what happened next. Some exits leave a permanent silence behind. 6. When you return, you're not the same. Silence isn't just about distance, it's about transformation. Because who you are when you come back matters more than why you left. Most people return the same. Same tone, same patterns, same needs. And the cycle continues like nothing changed. But here's the shift. When you return, be different. Not louder, not colder, just clearer. Clear in boundaries, clear in presence, clear in what you allow and what you don't. Let the silence refine you, not just remove you. Now your return isn't about reconnecting. It's about reintroducing power. And that difference will be felt immediately. You don't need to say what changed. They'll feel it, and they'll adjust accordingly. Some people will respect the new you. Others will try to pull you back. That's how you know who stays and who fades. Ever returned with new energy? Drop your story below. Let's build a library of transformation in these comments. You don't need to beg to be valued. You don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to chase to be remembered. Sometimes, all it takes is one move, one silent decision, one exit they didn't expect, one shift they can't unsee. And that's when the fear begins. Not fear of you, fear of losing access to you, fear of the silence you left behind. You held your energy, you paused, you vanished, you returned stronger, and they never looked at you the same again. That's what they never teach you. You gain power not by fighting harder, but by mastering how and when to disappear. This wasn't just a list of tricks. It was a system, a philosophy, a weapon. And if it hits you deep, it's because you're done being predictable. Welcome to the Silent Order. Subscribe now and drop your silent story in the comments, because one sentence from you might shift someone else forever.